Good morning, everyone. Rev here. Today it is Thursday. It is February the 4th. It is still 2021. We're going to be here a while, aren't we? I hope you're safe, you're well and blessed this morning and ready to be a witness for Christ. I'm going to talk to you this morning about something that has been worrisome for a lot of people, and it doesn't need to be. And what I want to talk to you about this morning is the unforgivable sin. I'm first going to read from Mark chapter 3. This is verses 20 through verse 30. Then Jesus entered a house, and again a crowd gathered, so that he and his disciples were not even able to eat. When his family heard about this, they went to take charge of him, for they said, "He's out of his mind." And the teachers of the law who came down from Jerusalem said, "He's possessed by Beelzebub." That's the devil. "By the prince of demons, he is driving out demons." So Jesus called them and spoke to them in parables. How can Satan drive out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan opposes himself and is divided, he cannot stand. His end has come. In fact, no one can enter a strong man's house and carry off his possessions unless he first ties up the strong man. Then he can rob his house. I tell you the truth, all the sins and blasphemies of men will be forgiven them. But whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will never be forgiven. He is guilty of an eternal sin. He said this because they were saying he had an evil spirit. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. A wise man once said, "If you're worried about having committed the unforgivable sin, then you haven't." A look at this passage here in Mark this morning, it really explains the minister's comment. Excuse me. While the religious leaders saw Jesus' miracles with their own eyes, they saw Jesus' miracles, they still refused to acknowledge Christ as God's messenger, as God's son. They refused to believe that his power was from God. Otherwise, they would have had to accept Jesus as the Messiah. And they weren't going to do that. And so what they do is they start this rumor that Jesus' works, which were performed through the power of the Holy Spirit, they actually said that his powers were actually energized by Satan. This was a sin against the Holy Spirit. That is, to ascribe the works that Christ did in the Spirit's power to the devil, to Satan. Only the most hardened unbeliever could see Jesus' ministries of healing and deliverance and deny God's handiwork. No, anyone who yearns for forgiveness and wonders if he or she could have committed this unforgivable sin simply could not have done so. Forgiveness is the last thing those who commit to the real unforgivable sin, denying the power of the Holy Spirit, deny. Let me let me, sorry about that. Knocked myself over. Let me close here with some words from Dr. David Jeremiah, whom I admire very, very much about this. David Jeremiah says, the thought of an unforgivable sin has haunted sensitive people in every Christian century, and maybe it has haunted you. I want to be clear in saying that if you are bothered in your spirit that you may have committed a sin that God will not forgive, the very fact that you have anxiety over that is evidence that you have not committed the sin. Excuse me, if he's still working in your heart, it's not possible to have committed the unpardonable sin. Stop worrying about it. If you have been. If you are, stop. If you have anxiety over it, you have not committed it. I'm Pastor Mark. I love you guys. Be safe, be well, be blessed. Be strong. Go do something for Jesus, and I'll see you tomorrow.